In this lesson, we're going to introduce you to SSIS, or SQL Server Integration Services. We'll cover the tools, the terminology around SSIS, and the architecture. The purpose of SSIS is mainly to move data around. So to move data from point A to point C and apply a whole series of rules between those points. As you can see in the screenshot here, I'm taking data out of an OLADB source, applying a number of business rules, such as aggregating the data up, and then sorting the data before I finally write it to a flat file. It can also be used to orchestrate a workflow, as can be seen in this screenshot here. In this screenshot, we have a number of tasks that are executing in a certain order. The tools you'll be using throughout this book and throughout your career in SSIS is mainly the Import-Export Wizard and the Business Intelligence Development Studio. The Import-Export Wizard is used mainly for quick packages that you want to develop to move data from point A to point B. It applies no business rules to this, simply moves data from point A to point B. Business Intelligence Development Studio, or BIDS, is how we'll be using to design all of your SSIS packages in. SSIS packages are components or programs that you build to run inside of SQL Server, or inside of SSIS. There are two major components inside of the BIDS environment. The first one is the control flow. The control flow is made up of tasks, which are individual units of work. For example, a task may be to execute a SQL script, or execute a VB.NET script, or maybe to move a file from point A to point B. That move of the file is a file system task, or an execute SQL task will execute a SQL script. You also have containers, and these will control your looping or grouping of tasks. And these are all interconnected with precedence constraints. Precedence constraints look like these green lines that you see in this previous slide. The data flow is made up of sources, transforms, and destinations, and its primary job is to move data. This is where you'll spend about 75% of your time as an SSIS developer, and this is where typically all of the business rules that you've written will be applied to this component. A data flow is controlled by a data flow task in the control flow. After you drag a data flow task in the control flow over, you'll have the data flow available to you, and you can double-click on that task to go inside of it. After then, you can drag sources, transforms, and destinations over. In short, there are two major components you'll be using throughout this book. The Import-Export Wizard, which will be the easiest way to move data, but the most restrictive, the least powerful. The BIDS environment is where you'll be doing most of your development throughout the book. The control flow is where you orchestrate the workflow of your package, and the data flow is where you orchestrate the movement of data using sources, transforms, and destinations.